I think New England Patriots fans, for the rest of their existence, will compare Patriots to how you operated with the New England Patriots. So to see a kick go back and then for Coach Mayo to come out and say, we're a soft football team, that's almost like the worst thing you can say about a team, I think, if you're describing the football. What are your thoughts on that up there? Should Connor continue to have optimism because Drake May is showing promise for the future? Or what are your thoughts on the Patriots right now?
Yeah, well, I think Drake May's done some good things. In the end, we'll see how it goes when situations get a little more competitive and all that. But, defensively, the Patriots led the league last year in rushing defense, yards per carry, number 1 in the league. And this year they're way down in the 20s somewhere. It's the same guys. They re-signed Jennings, they re-signed Tavai, they re-signed obviously Duggar, right? Marcus Jones and Gonzalez have been healthy all year, which they were both on IR at this point last year. So you got Wise, you got Godshaw, you got Keon White, you got Mapu, you got Gonzalez, 3 rookies from last year. So it's a lot of the same players, and in some cases I would say more. So I don't, I'm kind of hurt for those guys because to call them soft, they're not soft. They were the best team in the league last year against the run. And those guys went out there and did it, even though we couldn't score many points offensively. So, I don't know. I feel bad for the defensive players on that one because those guys, that's a tough group. I mean, John Jones, Godshaw, Wise, Jennings, those are all, Uche, those guys are all tough players. Like, they'll strap it up and go. Duggar, I mean, they're tough guys.
Getting called soft is a very slanderous term in the football world. Yep. I mean, that is real deal. So maybe coach is just trying to pivot them into getting. Go ahead.
And Pat, look, you're like the best punter we've ever played against. Okay, so I'm going to go on record and say that. Okay, you were a pain in the ass on the kickoffs.
Thank you.
You were brutal on the punts, the fake punts, and all that. But I'll still say I don't understand why punters just want to punt the ball straight down the middle against good returners.
Yeah.
And okay, it comes back 97 yards, but I mean, look, it's hard. It's hard when you lay it right down the middle, like right down the middle of the field, and you got to cover all 53 1/3 yards, and you outkick the coverage, and then, that's what's going to happen. And I told you that Pac-Man, that's what Sauerbrunn did. He put it right down the middle against Pac-Man. And you know what? Pac-Man 85-yarded us after 10 people told him not to do that. You just can't do that against good returners. And I watch him do it against Turpin, in the Cleveland game, and watch him do. I mean, it happens week. I don't understand why you put it right down the middle. Now, I get it. Behringer might lead the league in average. He might. It'll be close. He's right up there. He's got an 80-yarder, a 70-some yarder. But they're so hard to cover.
Yeah, I agree. And that is really
right down. And look, if you're going to go down the middle, then put some hang time on the ball. Get it up there. But those 4-second 69-yarders they're hard to cover. AJ, right?
Run out of bounds.
I mean,
Coach, I've been telling Pat.
The ball's kicked. You can't leave
I played wing, Coach.
Kicked. You got
I played wing. I wanted the ball out of bounds.
4 seconds. It can't happen.
Yeah, it's impossible, especially, if your two gunners get blocked up, and a two-way go is a nightmare for any coverage team. I mean, that's legitimately the case. Back in the day, it feels like guys used to launch it a lot more, but now that every team has a returner that's like 4.25 or 4.3, it wasn't like, now it's like every team has a guy that can go. I think like the last decade or two, maybe, it kind of got introduced to the game that special teams could be a weapon. But you're right, you hit a low one down the middle, you're asking for it. Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to cover the kick wherever it goes and whatever the hang time is. I'm not taking any special teams coverage unit off the hook, even on bad kicks, because they're going to happen. But I mean, the more of them you lay down the middle, the more you're asking for trouble, the harder it is. I mean, that's hard.
Yeah, agreed.
It's hard to cover the whole field when you got the two gunners, the only guys that can leave, and you got everybody else bottled up in there. And I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. Hey, Behringer, figure it out, pal. You can tell, though, the teams that are really stressing on it, though, because their punter's normally better at it than, Behringer, Young, right? I think his second year, second year. So maybe they're not as harping on it, but it's like you hit one of those in the alley, in between numbers and hash marks and you get it taken back on you like I have, I mean, that's an immediate next day, like, hey, that shit can't happen. Like, if you want to be a good punter in this league, that shit cannot happen. It's real. The NFL's too damn good. Defense and special teams up there in New England going to be judged forever because of the way you kind of treated it. And they're in the middle of that right now, especially when you lose to the Jags.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yikes. Doug Peterson happy?
Kind of.
Well, I mean, look, the Jags haven't been able to run the ball all year, but, they did a good job yesterday, and that really helped them out, especially in the fourth quarter when they, were milking the clock and, kind of drove it down the field. So, you know what? I think if they commit to the running game and get their running game going, that would help Trevor Lawrence tremendously so he doesn't have to go back there 45 times every game.
Calm man.
Indiana this weekend, baby.
Nope. Not talking about that.
NBA starts tomorrow, baby.
Nope. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is a self-described soft-ass football team in the NFL. Where's that at? You might ask yourself. There's no way that being like a tough town. There's no way that being a traditional football town. There's no way that would be at a historic franchise. Coach Mayo, after yesterday's ass beating by the Jacksonville Jaguars, came out and said, we're a soft football team.
Oh, no.
That's the worst thing you could possibly say about your team, especially for Coach Mayo, defensive legend in New England, fresh off a Bill Belichick-led team. He's coming out saying we're a soft football team. But then Drake May, the next chosen one up there, had this to say about his coach saying what he said about the team.
Coach Mayo's not going to come in here and say something he hasn't said us in the locker room. I think we're not tough. He always preaches being tough. He preached it today. Being tough is running the football, stopping the run, and covering kicks is what he said. So I think he does a great job of relaying the message to us, and the guys know. John Jones gave a speech after the game saying you got to find it. We got to find something, and what we're doing is not good enough, and we got to man up.
Okay, so that's the quarterback of the future for the New England Patriots. The way he's handling this entire situation, does that make you happy? Or do you find any solace in the fact that you have the softest football team in the NFL, says your coach?
Oh, no, there's no solace in that. But when you're looking at what this year was supposed to be when we started, this is a bridge year, right? That's why he brought in Jacoby Brissett. The only real thing as a Patriots fan that I was looking for this year is, hey, is Drake May going to be a good football player? We can check that box off because he is unbelievable. There's so many things that he does. Obviously, he can throw the ball down the field, which is awesome. And, he's hitting the easy ones, which is another conversation that was going into the year. Can he do? But even like the should be 3 to 4 yard sacks, he's turning into, 2 to 3 yard gains. So there's so many things to be happy about when it comes to Drake May. Now, when it comes to rooting for a soft football team, it is a nightmare. The Jags actually ran the ball 17 straight times in the second half on their way to a touchdown. So it is very difficult to watch. Now, Mayo, if your whole entire thing is having the team be tough and the team isn't tough, I don't know where that leaves you, just because isn't that kind of a coach's thing to get that toughness level to a certain point? I'm not sure. We've lost a lot of key pieces. Injuries happen every year. But as a fan base, the way the Patriots fans kind of react to it, I think they're kind of being soft as well. We didn't come into this year as a fan base expecting a Super Bowl. Maybe some people did. I think if you did that, then you're an asshat. That is clearly not what this year was going to be. So everyone reacting as if, the world's burning and Mayo's the worst coach ever and this team is absolutely terrible. Team's not great, no doubt about that. Obviously, the Mayo era, 1-6, they're not off to a great start. But look at this thing, zoom out a little, okay? It stinks. Okay, it stinks that we have to root for a bad team and that we're going to be in the top 5, top 3, possibly top 1 draft pick next year in the NFL. We might be the worst team in the NFL, and that is brutal. But I'll tell you what, we have one of the youngest, one of the brightest futures at quarterback. And is this a situation right now that we're looking at where Stafford in Detroit, is that what we are on our way to with Drake May in New England? I hope not. I think there's plenty of hope across the board when it comes to other positions aside from Drake May. There's the stats about him in his first 2 starts. He's got 500 pass yards, over 500 pass yards, 5 touchdowns. He's one behind Pat Mahomes when it comes to pass touchdowns this year. I don't know. You tell me. That sounds pretty damn good to me. But yeah, the toughness thing, it's despicable. It is brutal. And you mentioned it. We are a fan base that is used to winning championships and used to at least having a good defense. Coming into this year, the whole entire thing was like, hey, the offense is going to be what it's going to be, but our defense is going to be great. Defense has had some key injuries, and they've just kind of fallen apart, and it's brutal.
Defense and special teams, not normal New England Patriots stuff. Give up 41 to the Texans last week, and then give up 32 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a tweet coming out of Jacksonville, something about GM and head coach. I mean, Doug Peterson gets a massive win.
Yeah.
Huge win in an international game. I saw the director or chief football strategist, Tony Khan, post a photo with Doug Peterson live from the stadium. Go, it's a great day, big smiles. They do get a big win, and now there's shit leaking that maybe Peterson and GM or maybe on different pages. It's like there's always something, seemingly.